Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. This is a trio webinar that we are planning, which will cover issues related to waste, water, and energy. And what we've done today is to start today on Earth Day, but significantly trying to set the tone. Um, but honestly, for us, every day is Earth Day. I mean, that's something that we have consistently been following through for years in my journey as well. And I know that for our speaker today, it's been an interesting journey, and we'll hear a little bit more about that as well. Just I want to quickly introduce, now I don't know how to quickly introduce her because she is done so much in such a short time in her life, and it's kind of overwhelming for me to have to go through and tell you everything that she's done. So let me try and try and bring out the real essence of what I believe Sahar is, kind of is to me in a sense, right? I mean, what I feel. Apart from her educational qualifications and her extensive experience, and globally she's traveled so much, learned so many different things along the way. um, I think the interesting part about Seher is that she has kind of grasp something that has been really dear to her and try to make a journey out of it. And I think that's the story today we will see. And I think this is more for an inspiration for all of us. I mean, I say this. I know Sahar told me when we spoke the other day that when she was a confused student, we spoke a little bit and, kind of hopefully I kind of helped her a little bit along the way. But, I think more than anything else, I think it's an inspiration that all of us has, kind of need to learn from, because there are going to be challenges along the way. Whether it is today's COVID situation or whether it is in our lives, whether it's, our personal journeys or professional, there's going to be different kinds of challenges. And I think the question is, how do you kind of, go with the flow or overcome those and make something that you're passionate about. And in this case, Seher has clearly been passionate about the environment. She's been clearly passionate about zero waste lifestyles, and she's taken that journey to its culmination in the sense, right? I'm sure the journey is not over. I mean, it's just kind of begun. But so quickly, I'll tell you, she's my, alma mater. We are both the Sapphire students. So way back, of course, I'm probably several generations ahead. But she's also a student from Oxford University, Loyola Marymount University, and University of Cambridge. So she's completed her MPhil in environmental economics and law. So that's her educational background. But she's also got an extremely interesting professional life post that, where she's interned at the National Geographic. She's worked as a project assistant at HEAL Africa in the Republic of Congo. She's interned at Earthshare, and she's also been a resident advisor at the Loyola Marymount University. She's also worked at the WHO. So honestly, this list goes on and on. But
Oh,
I think more importantly,
join the
she's
webinar, no?
taken her journey and she's connected the dots of all
Join
her
the webinar if you
experiences
want. Tell
to
them.
come to bear in her current avatar
Yeah.
as the CEO and the head of Bare Necessities. So that's been her kind of a quick and summary of what she's done. But I'd love to hear a lot more from Sahir as we go along, right? So thanks again for agreeing to work with us on this webinar. For those of you who don't know what Insight does, we are a small NGO, been around since 2003, worked on various issues related to energy, water, waste. In 2016, we have registered ourselves as a trust and worked as started working as an NGO to with the impact that we hope to create on ground. And a lot of our programs focus on e-waste management, expired and unused medicines in the area of waste. We also have extensive work on urban afforestation and education. And across all of these areas, a key ingredient is really about what is it that each individual can kind of bring to the table in terms of solutions and changing their lifestyle. So that kind of segues into today's program, and I'd like to kind of get straight into it now. So Sahar, if you need to, say a few words before you want to bring your PPT on, that's fine too. But in terms of the rules of today's webinar, if anyone has questions, please put it in the chat. We'll listen to Sahar's presentation for about 20 minutes, and after that, we'll open it up for questions. And if the group is fairly small, then we might even do an unmute and have it interactive. So let's take a call after the presentation. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and welcome again, Sahar. And thanks for everyone who joined today.
Thank you so much for that extremely generous introduction. I definitely remember being a very confused 21-year-old or 22-year-old when I had moved back home to Bangalore, and I was trying to navigate, all the environmental sector and what was going on, what were some organizations that, I could work at. And I was extremely confused, and you really helped me. So thank you so much for that. And I'm so happy to kind of connect again. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I know you have many other things to do, so I really appreciate everyone spending their time to be here. So I'm just going to share a little bit about my story, what got me started and got me excited about sustainability, and then a little bit about how it's been to grow Bear, and just other fun anecdotes. Again, it's meant to be extremely informal and interactive, so please pop your questions. I think that's our favorite part. So we'd love to kind of hear from everyone and where you all are in your sustainability journey as well. So now quickly going to share screen. Great. Can you see?
Yes, Sahar. It's just loading, I think.
Okay. Amazing. Perfect. So hi everyone. Let's talk trash today. So this jar is primarily most of the waste that I've generated in the past 5 years, and I know that sounds pretty crazy, but through this session, I'm going to tell you about why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I got started on this journey. So growing up, like every other good Bangalorean, I spent lots of my time in Cubbon Park, and I have 2 older sisters, and my dad absolutely loved nature. So, all of the holidays meant jumping into waterfalls, climbing trees, coffee picking, and basically nature had a huge element to play in all of our summers, all of our weekends. That was, around which we kind of organized everything and all of our family activities. So actually, these are pictures from family road trips and things like that growing up. So I don't think I really called myself an environmentalist for a long time. But when I was in college, I was, I think, 19 years old when I watched this short documentary of this lady named Pia Johnson. And I'm sure you probably all already know about her. But that jar that she's holding is all of the waste that she, her 2 kids, and her husband had produced in 4 odd years. And I remember being completely inspired, but also thinking that's crazy. I'm never going to be able to do it. Forget about it. And, I'm a college student. I have a scholarship to maintain, a couple of jobs, or I can't afford to shop at Whole Foods and things like that. And I just came up with a laundry list of excuses why I probably couldn't do that. But of course, I was super inspired, and I was carrying my tote bag and my reusable water bottle and feeling great. But I also kind of went to my dean and I said, my headmaster, and I said, you don't have the major I want at university. And he was kind of shocked. He's like, what do you mean? We have like 500 odd majors here. So, what do you really want to do or study? And I said, yeah, but I want to study, environmental science in the science department. And I want to take the environmental policy class in the political science department. And then I want to take a couple of classes in the urban planning. So he just looked at me and said, okay, grab a chair. And we literally highlighted every course that was offered by university that had anything to do with the environment. And I got to merge all those and study all of it, which was really, really exciting. And I'm super lucky to have had such a mentor in my life. So just fast forward some time, I was on this real academic track. I thought I'd be a professor. I was, very much having a great time in university. And I thought that it could be so fun to basically, be a professor in this formidable age of people's lives, 18 to 21 or so, where we can make sustainability really fun and accessible. So I moved on to do my master's in the University of Cambridge. And thereafter, I think one of the best things that happened to me is that I didn't get, its PhD program as expected. And I had to kind of change courses a little bit. And what happened then was I worked at the WHO for a little bit, which was great in terms of just understanding all of our environmental issues from a health lens, which I honestly hadn't done because I'd been really looking at things from this one path. So that was really important. And then the next thing I did was I moved back home. I was very confused, as you all already know. But finally, I decided to start working at Selco Foundation, which is an amazing organization that works in the renewable energy space, really trying to help serve various underserved communities and filling in that energy gap. And filling in that energy gap for livelihoods, for health, for education. That we were solarizing public health centers and hospitals. We were making boat clinics, solarizing agri-equipment for farmers, just simple home lighting systems, all of that, which meant I was just traveling on any overnight bus ride, a bunch of kurtas, a backpack, and transported to some of the most beautiful parts of Karnataka that I had ever seen in all my time. So that's what I was primarily doing. But everyone in office knew that I was really excited about waste, and I'm trying to reduce my waste footprints in a few ways. So there was this one community that is by the Bangalore, airport, and of course there is this community that is primarily a waste picker community. And so I got assigned this project, and essentially what I did was I was very excited, but we put solar panels on their chai curry because every morning when they come for their morning chai, they get this, plug in their battery, go on for a day's work, and they come back and they have a fully charged battery that they plug into their solar lantern that they can use in the evening. Of course, I'm sure you all have seen really kind of informal, blued up houses, and that's kind of the housing situation of the community that I was working with. And of course, it's first of all really crazy because on one side you're building this really fancy Bangalore International Airport and the smart city, and not far from that is this community that basically is struggling for access to water, light, and just for their livelihoods. So essentially, I would follow people on my bicycle in the morning between like 5 and 9 a.m. before work. And really kind of started to develop, personal one-on-one relationships with a lot of them. I knew how many kids they had, how old they are, how many times they go back home, things like that. And so Rahman is actually in this orange shirt, and I think I followed him most among everyone. And of course, I noticed the conditions in which they were segregating all our waste, which is extremely informal, no personal protective equipment. I mean, now maybe you might see them with masks and gloves, but this is in 2015 where that was really not happening. And of course, I was seeing them kind of segregate broken glass, anti-napkins, all with their absolute bare naked hand. And for me, I just thought back to that crazy video that I watched when I was 19 years old in college. And I said, I'm going to try that crazy thing, that zero waste lifestyle. And that's kind of how I got started, because I just didn't want to be part of this problem. And for me, the best way how I knew how to be part of the solution was to try and reduce my own footprint. And that's what kind of got me on this journey. So, of course, you all know we are currently living through the largest global garbage crisis of our lifetime. So I'm not going to spend too much time on facts and figures because we all know how bad it is and we're confronted by it every day. So what is zero waste? So zero waste is this philosophy that guides people's lifestyles to basically reduce their waste to as little as possible. And while zero waste is basically practically impossible, it's this idea of having this aspiration, right? Because, shoot for the stars, and if you land up in the moon, that's totally fine too. So it's just basically, I think, a philosophy that is very supportive of community health, but also of equity and justice. So essentially, it means to try and reduce our waste to as little as possible. So how did I get started? The first few things I did was I started using a miswak stick, and I was like, oh, they've been using it from the Indus Valley civilization. This is amazing. First toothbrush known to mankind. And then I was just really missing the sensation of actually brushing my teeth. So I got a bamboo toothbrush, but I had to ask my sister to get it for me, who lived in Copenhagen, and I had to wait 6 months for her to actually get it here. I started composting my food waste. I started buying a lot of food in bulk. and in my own containers, steel dabbas and ceramic dabbas, etc. Even when I was actually traveling a lot in rural Karnataka, I'd just come back from somewhere with 3 kilos of peanuts or millets or things like that. And then carrying my own little snacks in that little cloth bag. I would just put all my almonds, walnuts, things like that there, half a sandwich, rather than plastic Ziploc bags. And these are kind of the first few things I did. I've since then graduated to a much bigger khamba, but this is just kind of from my first ever zero waste steps that I took. And while I was going on the zero waste journey, I realized that actually going zero waste is really in our Indian DNA. And you see it all on Instagram, and you see that this hipster bulk store in Brooklyn, and then this one's doing this in Germany, and it's just so scattered, and it's also really kind of glamorized. And I thought that there's a need for more Indian rhetoric around zero waste, because a lot of things are something that we just see all around, and has a lot to we have to celebrate a lot about India for that. So, two favorite examples are, of course, all of our bazaars. I mean, India is the land of small business owners. We have access to our nariyal pani walas, our fresh vegetable walas, or walis, and just have access to so much food that's not packaged in plastic, which is kind of this Western-inspired grocery stores that kind of give you very much pre-dictated amount of packaged food. And then, of course, the stainless steel tiffin, which has become the poster child of the zero waste movement globally, which is an 18th century Indian invention. And of course, it's not just the combination of the equipment, but also the supply chain system that we all know very fondly as the Mumbai Dabbawalas. And for me, that's a phenomenal example of creating green jobs. But also imagine like 2 lakh odd Mumbaikers get amazing, healthy, home-cooked meals, all without producing any waste, and providing about 6,000 employment opportunities. And I think honestly, the new food startups of the world have a lot to learn from models such as this. So I think in a lot of ways, zero waste or circular economy is just kind of advocating for how we can kind of marry the old and the new, and kind of find new models that work, and actually really looking back at what we used to do and try and find what's working, and then kind of marry it with models of the future. So, I mean, if you all are here, I'm sure you all already know, but this is from Daily Dump, again, love Poonam and everything that she's doing. But 60% of our waste is just food waste. So if we compost our food waste, we can, help save or divert about 60% of waste from ever landing up in our oceans and landfills. So what we can do, of course, the best thing that we can do is segregate our waste. And we're so lucky, if you are in Bangalore, and we have regulations and a public interest litigation that was filed by lots of amazing active citizens, perhaps a lot of you in this room, who actually have really made the legislation on waste management super mature and super great. But yeah, of course, just a little bit more about implementation, but in terms of policy, we're really, it's pretty outstanding. So segregate your waste and compost your waste. These are just fun little illustrations. I'm sure a lot of you already incorporate a lot of these things into your lifestyle, but composting our food waste, carrying our cloth bags, using that cast iron, reinventing our leftovers, using old cloth scraps to wipe down our kitchens rather than using single-use paper towels, are just a few examples of our kitchen waste. And then, of course, of travel is, we can use our own headphones when we're going places rather than sometimes when we do fly. They tend to give it to you in this plastic, and then they tend to, go through the screening process and give it back to you. And then you also never get to finish your movies if you're going on a flight. So carry your own headphones, carry your own snacks, your own water bottles. You don't need all that single-use plastic when you're traveling, whether it's on a bus or a road trip or train or anything. Of course, this is for a post-COVID world. Now we can just kind of plan for future travels, but just being more mindful to kind of keep the planet in a better state than we found it. So my second realization on the zero waste journey was that we live in a world with landfill destined products and not zero waste products. And that's where bare necessities comes in. We try and create products that are designed not to land up in our ocean and landfills. And we try and source all of our raw materials ethically from organic farmers, from other local vendors, We try and package everything in a recyclable, reusable, or fully compostable manner. Some of the materials that we source from is actually from farmers that I helped solarize the agri equipment when I was at Selco. So that's a little bit about bare necessities. We also have this amazing woman-run manufacturing team that creates all of our products, and we really care about upskilling. So people are learning computer skills and tally skills and English on the side, in addition to manufacturing all of these earth-friendly handcrafted products. So I'm going to just quickly share like a few examples of what some products and why we design in a certain way. So one, we use a lot of bamboo straws, bamboo toothbrushes. And why? Because bamboo is one of the fastest growing plant in the world. It takes only 3 weeks to grow full size. The next is beeswax food wrap. I'm a foodie, and I think I always have leftovers and need to carry something, etc. So using a beeswax food wrap, which we decided to use cotton cloth and then beeswax and a bunch of jojoba oil and other oils to help it kind of stick together. Once we're done, you can actually cut it out, and you can put it into your garden or pot, and it will literally just decompose and go back to the earth. So at Bare Necessities, we really try and use products or raw materials that celebrate India. So whether that's turmeric or moong dal or rose or lavender, those are some of the raw materials that we use. So today, this Earth Day, I hope and encourage all of you to put yourself in the shoes of these amazing 3 little illustrations. This little boy who started a carpool program, who embraces hand-me-downs, uses his own stainless tiffin for his lunch, or this lovely auntie who upcycles all of her old saris and never lets anyone waste food, or this young girl who gives everyone seeds or seed bombs, always carries her stainless steel straw, and also composts all of her food waste. So today I just want to leave you here with the question is, can we reimagine a world where we don't produce any trash in the first place?